You already started. Petr, you are a fan of technologies and big expert on them. You took part in one of our conferences. You said how modern technology can influence and does influence education. Now it's slightly different. The topic is slightly different, and we'll speak of evaluating the NFT phenomenon. I am an economist. I do invest, but I am a standard type of investor. And the phenomenon of energy, well, I keep hearing about it nowadays, but half a year ago I didn't know what that's about. So could you, to start with, tell us something about the instrument, introduce it to myself and to our viewers. Probably there are other naive users. So why this instrument? I'll gladly answer. And thank you for introducing me and introducing technologists. I will look at it. I am not an economist. I will look at the issue from point of view of technology. The technology solves several problems or issues, and you must make a decision if you should or should not invest. NFT, non-fungible token, well, it means it is irreplaceable. Irrespective of what Bitcoin I own, whatever token I have, I can use it. If I were to compare, it's like paper. We can use paper to print a contract on it, to paint a drawing on it, to print money, and so on. The technology is neither good nor bad. It's neutral. It may be a cryptocurrency, or it can be a contract or a painting. So that's the comparison of the technology, something that exists in our universe. If you had something online, you could always make a copy, and you could make 1,000 of copies. In offline, if I buy and I pay for a phone and want to sell it on, I can buy a cheap copy from China, but if I buy it from Apple, Apple will confirm that yes, this is original Apple iPhone. Others are false. And we need a technology that can define what is original, what is unique. And that's what fascinates me. Because when we look at where the online world is going, we know that there are virtual worlds, and you can really own what you have on the iPhone. If I create something and put it on the net, it can be taken, and at the same time you can keep a token. That's what fascinates me as a technology man. And now there are many issues that are concerned. It may concern art, as Mr. Kovanda spoke of it as of alternative investment, and you can buy it and expect the painting rise in price. So definition of original makes it extremely interesting. Another thing, again, are figures. Somebody can produce 10,000 copies of monkeys, each one looking slightly different, and you're buying a sort of a token, right, or title to the picture. Many technological firms wanted around year 2000 wanted to have copies. Nowadays it's like underwriting some shares, and you can trade them, you can resell and earn money. That's not like a picture. Picture is a picture. I only buy the titles to it. You can see a number of things connected to it in that wild area. There is a number of scams, but it can be compared to the situation in 1996 to 97. Many clever people tried to enter the area and find the key. Nowadays you have Instagram, and it's so attractive, so sexy. Many people, of course, lose money on it, just as in stock picking. So that's just a quick introduction. Thank you. Thank you for the opening explanation. One of the basic properties, if I compare to Bitcoin, is really that non-fungible character. You can keep it, but this is a unique thing. Yes, exactly. It goes under the category of cryptocurrencies. Cryptocurrencies are quite unfortunate. Bitcoin is a cryptocurrency. It's a digital piece of gold. Technology that uses blockchain, it's not a currency business. It's a technological invention. And what you have on blockchain makes you define the object. And there are vast discussions on Bitcoin saying that Bitcoin is the only right thing, but Ethereum or other currencies have their own problems. I think that was quite clear about the difference. For you, as the main sort of advantage, what would that be when compared to other instruments or other tools? Why people are ready to spend for it and have it in their portfolio? At this moment, there is a big number of speculants who want to earn money in a very fast way. You buy something, resell it, and you earn your money quite quickly. That is a bad thing about it. You make a stake on reselling. And speaking long term, here is a technology which is only 1/10 of what can exist within 10 years. There may be a number of meta versions, and I believe they will be interconnected and build up something in the market. People, when you look at the situation where Google was 12 years ago, it's quite similar, and you think of how it can be used. To me, it's an interesting thing as a long-term investment, not a fast-moving product. I can see an interesting platform, and inventors or people who create it to build up a company or part thereof. It's like investing into new products. It's like new phones, app stores, and so on. Within several years, those things deemed funny or strange at first, within few years they get their place. Yes, you can see the same type of story in other assets. These are two good quality strategies. Speaking short term, the yield can be quite high. But economic theory tells us that nothing is free. The higher the yield, the higher the risk. That's the typical rule. So what is the risk in this investment instrument? Well, it's a maximum bound. We said that in shares 90% will not earn you money. And here 99% should get the impression that I now buy Ether for 1,000 crowns. The quality is practically the same as a number of altcoins. Very similar. I think it can be compared to post stamps. Since I've been working with it for a year or so, I can provide some projects that will not burn my hands. But it's one deal to 9 in terms of success or lack of success. One of them, however, shoots out and becomes the blue chip and is accepted as a project that has future. So there may be a number of unsuccessful trades or short-term ones, but still you are aware that this is an ultra risky thing. Many people will say, I will not buy this because people will put pressure on me. I can earn 1,000 Ether and I will disappear within a week. But it's really very risky, and I probably would not allow to invest nowadays. It's nonsensical. You spoke of a number of safe or less risky investments. Right, you have to be a fan. Yes. Yes, you have to be enthusiastic, you have to put your time in it. It's not that you just keep looking on it and you start to understand. It's really, like Mr. Covender said, you have to have it as a hobby. If you aren't well versed in arts, buying paintings is no good for you. A more technical thing, maybe not so technical. Well, there are pictures, and can they be any type of picture, or are there some of those that will get more popular, some Pokemons and something of the kind? A good question. People think that NFT is a picture. I may buy some art by Damon Hirst that was sold for $10,000 a picture, and you can choose whether you want to have it physically or you keep it in the electronic form. And there is representation, and that's a picture. The picture, theoretically speaking, can be downloaded by anyone from the internet, but I can prove that I really own it. You can buy the picture with the token, but token is what sells. And the only thing is interpretation of that token. The token may look like a club card, and you can connect it to a group of people who have the same token. Otherwise, the picture has no value at all, but the token is the admission ticket. And you decide how much you should pay for it, how you value the know-how. And it's very interesting to follow that. Compared to other investments that were mentioned, which are very rational, NFT works with emotion so much, with the social community. It's another way of functioning. You invest into a company, you want to be a part of a community. Now, I may invest and I don't care who are other members of the community. And that's why I want to invest. It's so much different. The emotion is very much different. And the type of people who communicate about the product, they are able to put it down just because they don't want to invest. But the interpretation can be a visual one, it can be some narrative art, and it's really computer that creates it. You switch on an algorithm that can create 10,000 copies. Right. It's really a different type of world of all the other investment spheres. Really, such instruments as bonds are so much different. We can see a fast development of these technologies. What will come next after NFT? Do you have any idea? What can we expect? This will look strange, but NFT probably will be developed by, or will develop virtual worlds. When you look at Copperstrike, Robert Fox and others, these are virtual worlds where you can buy clothing, and some virtual clothing are very expensive. Apart from music, virtual dresses or clothing are very expensive, sold in those virtual worlds. It shows what we know in the offline world. People invest big money into a handbag or a watch, but only here you have the contact in the online environment. So it's a world of its own, and it's like play to earn, and you play the game and earn money and resell, and you are able to improve your own avatar. I just described what is happening, especially during the COVID pandemics. People played the game and thus improved the figure that they were then reselling. So it's about the virtual world, and for example, that's where Facebook is now going.
They now prepare the the new worlds, the extended reality. There are virtual galleries which can be visited now, and this is a trend which we've been augmented reality is the world which we can now be looking for. I don't know whether I'm really looking forward, but since we are only left with 4 minutes, I would like to ask, I know that you have bought already some NFT, and when have you purchased the first one, and what do you do about it now? I bought the first about a year ago, and it was a crypto pack. It is a series dating back to 2017. I paid it 32 ethers, and last weekend I had the offer of buying it at 64 ether. I know that there's been an increase. Anyway, the value tripled, and it may be that it will grow even further. I try to select such tokens which are significant, that are perhaps more expensive if you purchase them, but they can make a better performance. Indeed, triple valuation, that's a very good investment. I haven't sold it yet. I'm thinking in the long-term perspective. Yes, but it gives you a good feeling, doesn't it? I think that we've exhausted the time allotted to us. Thank you very much. And now I'd like to pass the floor on David again, and to yourself the questions from the public. Well, I will now use the words of our listeners to ask questions myself. There's been a question. It is the catastrophic tweet by Jack Dorsey, which was bought, which was purchased at a huge sum of money, and then it only cost or valued pennies. So can't this be predictive of the rest of the NFT world? Well, I'm waiting for the bubble to break one day. The Jack's tweet is quite interesting in the media, but I don't think it really makes sense to pay 3 million for a tweet. It is nice to read it in the headlines, but if you look at the total volume of money on this market, it is much more significant. Obviously, the market is still alive; it's thriving, and it can boost. It can break in a snap of a second. But for the time being, this doesn't seem to be the case, and it does not even decline. There is a question. Google Trends seem to be decreasing slightly the NFT index, and they say the hype is on the fall. Well, I think there are certain cycles. There's been a lot of hype last year. Then in September it slowed down, and many people said that it would be the end. So there are those phases, just like with cryptocurrencies. What occurs offline is that long, and what happens in crypto world is just a snapshot. So if you really want to know what the successful projects are, there was a project which was sold at 2.5 Ether, which is very much. And by the simple fact of being sold, the price increased to 10, and now it's 35. That's a lot of money. We can wonder if it is real people who did these transactions, or was it artificial? Was it generated by some mechanisms to increase the value? But I'm not an economist, and I'm not a financial advisor, so it can develop in either way. So one of the questions was, is Cardano, something like that, a good alternative to Cardano? I can't compare because I don't know it sufficiently to tell you more. I know it's an alternative thing, but what makes it alternative, I don't know. I don't feel educated enough. And the previous question, that was the one which broke down the stream, that was Moonbirds. There were some transactions worth 2.5 Ethers. It's utility proof, as the viewer asked, but what's this hype about it? Why? Do you see anything around it? There is a guy called Kevin Rose, who is a long-term investor in new technologies, and he's a founder of some of them. So I've been following him for some time. I trust him, and he has created a group which put together those Bloombergs. I don't know whether they want to build a kind of a meta world. The question is whether they manage to do it. They're counting with the future, and if you own a token, you own certain benefits. It can be a coin, can be dropping, which will provide you some more NFTs. So it is a community affair within the group, and it pays off if you bet on persons whom you've known for quite some time, and you give him a credit. You give him a credit in terms of being able to build a new Facebook or a new whatever. It can be a scam, that's true. The guy will suck the people dry of the money, and then he will go away. But the asymmetric investment, which it might be the asymmetric investment which gives you the tenfold of what you've invested at the beginning. It really looks quite mad, because it is a unique group of people who know what they're doing, and they have the past history of great successes. You give them money, and you hope that they will do the same with yours. One more question, not mine, the one of the spectators. Much has been said about the virtual worlds, like by a virtual island. What is the meta world? What is it really? Is it something which can be supportive of NFT, or can it be destructive? Absolutely. If you want to build metaverse, then it means that you want to sell something. It's like with the computer games. This is Meta. They build their own metaverse. Meta wants to sell assets, lands, products, but they want 47.5% from each item sold, which is a lot. And it is decentralized. It's a crypto world. It's metaverse, which is separate. I can transfer the assets from one metaverse to another metaverse, if I understand it properly. So it's decentralized, and now is the future of, is the future of internet, which is now being decided upon, and NFT is the fundamental thing, because NFT are the stream, are the flow, and that's what people bet on. If we start talking about metaverse, we could go ahead for yet another half an hour, but I have to suspend our discussion because we are short of time. I want to thank you very much, both Peter and Honza, who presented to us this brand new mechanism. Thank you.